Everyone, and welcome back to week number 2 for Year 3s and 4s for PE. Well done on all of your work with our striking activities last week. Saw heaps of people hitting the ball up, down and knocking over some really cool towers. Well done. Now this week we're going to have a little bit of fun playing a game of balloon tennis. Now for this week's task you will need 2 wooden spoons, a balloon and 2 paper plates so that we can make our tennis rackets for balloon tennis. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is make our bats. As I just said, you need 2 paper plates and 2 wooden spoons from the kitchen. You're going to put your wooden spoon on top of the paper plate. Get some tape. Stick it on. Might need a few pieces. There we go. Racket made. Second piece of equipment that you need for balloon tennis today is, of course, a balloon. Here's mine. Now, the third thing you need for your game of balloon tennis is a court. Now, as you know, I've made this in the stadium. So, for my net, I've used the bench. But a couple of other ideas you could use: chairs, shoes, toys, skipping rope, anything to put in the middle. I've then used some green cones for one side of the court and pink cones for the other side. Again, be creative when making your court. You might use shoes, toys, books, anything, just so you know where the boundaries are for each player. Now, before we play the game, we better talk about the rules. So, the first rule, you alternate who serves each time. So you get to serve, and then the next point, your friend or family member get to serve. Rule number 2. If the balloon touches the ground on your opponent's side of the court inside their boundaries, then you get the point. Rule number 3. If you hit the balloon and it does not land in your opponent's side of the court, then they get a point. Rule number 4. Faults. This is when you're serving. If you serve the ball, or in our case, the balloon, and it does not go into your opponent's side of the court, you get to have a second serve. After your second serve, if it still doesn't land on the court, then your opponent gets to serve and they get a point. Rule number 5. You need to decide with your opponent before the match begins if you are allowed to hit more than once to get the balloon over to the other side of the court. Although, remember, this would be hitting the balloon while it's still in the air, because if it hits the ground, it will be a point to either yourself or your opponent, depending on where the balloon landed. All right, well, I think we're just about ready to play. I just need to go and find someone to play against. Be right back. So, here goes our match. We have decided you only get to hit it once to try and get it over the net. I will serve. Oh, she could have left it. No, it's been 1. Kylie, serve. Oh, so that's a fault. Reserve. My serve. Oh, out of bounds. 2 all. Kylie serve. Now, most of you will have someone at home that you could ask really nicely to play against you. But Kylie, what's something you should do if you don't have anyone to play with?
You can find a wall at home and make your bat and your balloon and hit it up against the wall.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And this week's task is not a submission task, but if you forgot to hand in last week's task, then make sure you do hand in this one instead. And if you just want to show me how much fun you have had playing your tennis game, then of course you can send me a video or write me a comment. Maybe let me know what the score is against your opponent. We both hope you have a lot of fun as we did here today.